Hello, everyone. My name is Liz. I'm one of the co-founders of the Real Estate Investor Community. Excited about being with all of you for today's webinar with Fund That Flip. I have some amazing women, Val, Megan, and Meredith, are going to talk about how to decrease your risk with your investing decisions. So that's really important, obviously, in today's interesting economy. So I'm going to bring them on here in a moment and just welcome everyone as you're joining. Please share a little bit about where you are calling in from and what you're excited about. I know risk is sometimes a little, up in the air. People get a little nervous about risk, but what are you looking forward to learning today? And please share your name in the chat box. That would be great. Your name and where you're calling in from as I welcome our wonderful panelists here and speakers. So please do that in the chat box. And thanks so much for being here today. Hey, Jeannie from Berkshire is awesome. Hi, Kimmy. Hi, Nancy. We got some great. Hey, Christine from Raleigh. All right, let me get the Fund That Flip ladies here promoted. Just give me a second. Hey, ladies, how are you?
Good. Can you hear us?
We can hear. I could hear you. I'm trying to make sure you guys can all show your screen. I'm not show your screen. I'm going to just make you guys all co-hosts. I'm not sure looks like none of you are able to share your video. Welcome, everyone. Just give us a moment. We're just getting everyone all ready to go, but please share with us where you're calling in from, your name, and we're going to be talking about mitigating risks today. So as we jump into that, please put your where you're calling in from in the chat box. And thanks so much for being here. All right, I just made you all co-hosts, so you should be able to share your video. Hey, Megan.
How's it going?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Hi, Val. Hi, Meredith.
Hi, Victoria. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Excited to have you all on. I know a lot of your amazing colleagues at Fund That Flip.
Oh, great.
But pleasure meeting the three of you. And the three of you are going to be presenting together. Will one of you be taking the lead? Tell me a little bit about how, just real quick, as we jump in here, I just want to make sure I'm on the same page with you.
Yeah. I'll share my screen. We'll go through our slides and I'll change them as they go. And if you guys need anything from me, just give me a head nod.
All right. Awesome. We're still having a lot of folks joining us. So, but thank you for being here, the three of you. I really appreciate your time. And thanks so much for everyone being on today's webinar. We do free webinars twice a month, and I'm just so excited to share with you Fund That Flip. Fund That Flip has been a supporter of our community probably since we began. It's the first company that supported us when we first started, Matt and the team. So we really value our partnership with you folks and really appreciate you all being here and the work we've done together. So, and I'll have you guys share a little more about Fund That Flip, and I'm certain happily to jump into about the great different lending opportunities people could do. But thank you for being here. All right. I'm going to share my screen real quick, ladies, if you don't mind, just a little bit about our community here, and then we'll jump into your presentation. So thanks again so much for being here. This is going to be all about, mitigating risk and really decreasing your risk when it comes to investing decisions. I don't know about you, but that's a big concern. It's a big issue right now, especially with interest rates having gone up. And some of the pricing has not gone down, right? So we really need to be mindful of what our offers and what we're actually acquiring. So I'm excited about today. If you are new to our community, I'd love to hear you're new. I always assume everyone's been with us for 5 years on our journey. But if you are new to the real estate investor community, please put that in the chat box. Just put new in the chat box. I just love to welcome you to this webinar. Hey, Stacy, thanks for being here. Marissa, thanks for being here. Awesome. Just 2 new people. Okay, a few more. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for those joining us that are new. Our mission is all about empowering women to live a financially free and balanced life. Hey, Candace and Cheryl. That's what we really stand upon. We really are we have a passion to create an intimate global platform where women can really create deeper relationships and get the support that they need. We really take it seriously that this is more than just buying your next rental property. This is more than just growing your portfolio. We see this as like a necessity to provide women. This is a women's rights issue to access to funding, access to opportunity, so women can really stand on their 2 feet and create the life they want. And real estate's just a vehicle. It's much bigger than that, right? To create financial freedom. So that's what we stand for. That's what we're passionate about. And that's why we're here today to be with all of you. A few things about us. I'm going to go through these real quick. We do have a podcast that we release twice a week. It's called we're part of the Bigger Pockets Network. So if you don't know about our podcast, we started our podcast 5 years ago. We have some amazing women that we interview, and to check that out. It gets released on Tuesdays and Fridays. We do also have local meetups for those that are, it's really about connections and community. So we have local meetups across the country. We have a few in Canada where you can meet women that are like you, right? Like-minded women that are doing deals, that are making things happen, and that are growing their portfolios together. So check those out. Those are on our website. We also have our Strive membership, which is our one of a kind membership that's all about helping women that have done 5 to 10 deals really scale and really like create the portfolio on their own terms that they're looking for. So and our doors are open to that. There's more about that on our website too. Many of you are active in our Facebook group. We started our Facebook group with 20 women, and now we have close to almost 15,000 people women in our Facebook community. And that's really a safe space for you to ask questions, to get the support you need. So just keep doing that, keep showing up. We continually have events happening that are free and just to kind of educate and support women. We also have an EXP team that is for real estate agents who are also looking to invest in real estate. And we are also active investors with you. We're constantly looking at opportunities and doing different things and looking to expand our own portfolios along with you. So know that that's really important to us, that we're not like, we invested 10 years ago. We're active investors along with you. And then last but not least, I have to say, we are less than a few weeks away from our once a year Investor Con. And this is a picture from last year. This is Kim Kiyosaki, me, and Andressa. But this theme is generational wealth. If you are not coming, I'm not sure why you're not coming. We're going to have 500 people at a beautiful resort in Scottsdale, Arizona, at the Omni. And it is, we're getting close. We are having daily calls with our team. So we're pouring our team, our resources into making literally this to be even better than last year, our first one. But we have 20 speakers. We have 7 keynotes, 2 days of just full content, but community as well. So I hope you can join us. Hopefully is anyone coming to InvestorCon? I'd love to hear it in the chat box. If you're coming, you're excited. We have women coming the whole week. I think they just want to get away from their families, quite honestly. So we have women coming for the whole week before they knew who was speaking, quite honestly. So no, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be, honestly, it's going to be transformational. That is our goal, to transform women's lives and to make women's lives better with community and the right content. So excited about that. So please come play with us, come be there with us. And that's a QR code to get there. And without further ado, and these are a sampling of our sponsors. And like I said, further ado, I want to give the floor here to the ladies here at Fund That Flip. Again, Fund That Flip is a lender. Obviously, they finance flips. That's pretty clear. But I know they finance more than that. New construction is a big thing that you guys are financing right now. And they have been such a great partner. A lot of women in our community have used them for various deals. They're the real deal. And I know so many people get frustrated with lenders that they say they can do something and then they skirt around it. They don't communicate. That is not how Fund That Flip does business. They actually have a team approach, because we actually learned a lot about how you guys do your business, and it's so critical. So women, you're in the right hands with Fund That Flip. And if they can't help you, they'll tell you. So I personally know a lot of your team and have been impressed with literally everyone I meet. So thank you for all that you do, because lending is literally the key, right? So we can get deals done. So without further ado, I'm going to give the floor to you, Megan. Excited about today. And I will be here as the kind of help coordinator, but I'm going to stop talking. And then I would encourage everyone, if you have questions, because I'm sure you're going to have a ton, please put them in the Q&A box. I'll come in about, about 15 minutes of the hour and help field those. So, but please put your questions there. We want to make this time well spent for everyone and educate you and give you the right information. So thanks again, ladies, for being here. And Megan, take it away and I'll stop talking here.
All right, perfect. Give me a thumbs up if you got my PowerPoint here. Good? All right, awesome. All righty then. How's it going, everybody? My name is Megan Sarles. I first want to say thank you for having me here today. This is an awesome group. I love the mission and the message behind it, and I'm very thankful to be here. A little bit about me. I'm a construction risk manager at Fund That Flip by day and a real estate investor by night and on weekends. I'm a multi-family real estate investor here in Cleveland, and I use the buy and hold strategy with small renovations. I currently hold long-term rentals and midterm rentals. I first got started in real estate investing in 2021, pretty new to the game, kind of a COVID hobby, but I was always really interested in real estate investing. I've had an entrepreneurial and innovative spirit and loved looking at houses and the cool and unique architecture that was really, really interesting to me. New construction, building really tied into my innovative and creative spirit. And along with that, I loved the idea of bettering neighborhoods and communities by creating homes that someone's proud to live in. It was a very impactful message to me. And I'd be lying if I didn't mention that I was also in it for the money. I read that the most millionaires are created through real estate investing. I made it a goal for myself that I was going to have $1 million net worth by the time I was 30 years old. I knew that I loved real estate and I wanted to get into it, but I didn't know how to start. I was really unwilling to give up my W-2 paycheck security, and I didn't have a ton of liquidity to start. So I did what all great real estate investors do, and I started listening to Bigger Pockets and listening and watching to the experts talk about real estate investing. And something that really stood out to me on a Bigger Pockets episode is that they warned that you can't be the best at everything, and then you have to focus on one piece that you could do really, really well. In the Bigger Pockets episode, they broke real estate investing into 4 separate roles: the deal finder, the property manager, the contractor, and the lender at a very basic level. And based on the skill set that I had, I knew that if I could underwrite a deal and be that deal finder, I could leverage others who had skills to do construction or had lots of money to fill those gaps. So I tried to seek as much information as I could. I tried to be a sponge and just absorb anything and everything that I saw, listened to podcasts, watched videos, social media, and anyone that was talking about underwriting deals and what it takes to find a good deal. So then I wanted to continue to learn and figure out how to underwrite deals. And I wanted to move beyond just Googling on the internet and actually do something, get my feet wet. The biggest risk, in my opinion, is waiting to get started. I don't think there's anyone that invested 5-10 years ago that's still holding it as a rental or, gained that appreciation that's saying, I wish I didn't buy that. So definitely getting started is that first step. I wanted my investment goals to align with my W-2 job. So I decided to go find an underwriting job. You can see it as my actual search, how to underwrite loans. And I started Googling underwriting jobs, this and that. I thought it was a great opportunity to practice these underwriting skills with no real risk to myself. I'd be able to get an inside look into the deal and understand lending and the process of lending at a high level. I knew that if I surrounded myself with people that were doing what I wanted to do, I would find better opportunities. So that's what I did. I got an underwriting job at Fund That Flip. And when I started, I learned how to value properties. I learned about various risks that investors can face throughout a project. And I began to better understand how to leverage deals and how a lender will leverage it based on that risk level. I was able to also learn more about construction costs and construction processes by analyzing scope of works from our borrowers. And this experience really helped me better position myself to start doing my own deals. So when I'm valuing my properties, I like to use 3 different exit strategies in my underwrite. That way, if the market shifts, I'm not stuck in an unprofitable deal. So, if you underwrite to a sales exit and the market drops and no longer your ARV is no longer there, I want to know, will that property cash flow as a long-term rental? Maybe if you want to up the cash flow, you could do midterm and short-term rental. There's Section 8, there's group homes, and all these different types of strategies that you could look into and underwrite as an exit strategy when you're first taking down a deal, to know that you have some flexibility. Next, when I'm looking at my ARV, so after rehab value and the as-is value, was that property worth today? I like to run my numbers on a best case, worst case, and a base case level. And again, that's to know that when the market, or if the market shifts, that I'm still positioned to make a profit in my deal. So I'm looking at, comparable sales in the market that are apples to apples to what I'm trying to do. So I'll look at the grade of finishes and all of that kind of stuff, and then decide, if I want to put in this much money, this might be my worst case scenario. This is what my ARV is. This is what I want to buy the property at worst case, best case, base case, so on and so forth. And then I also like to do some research about that specific market and look at market metrics. Want to know about the average rent, population growth, vacancy rates, crime rates, what is the local business and what are they industry rich in? Because that kind of helps me understand, do I want to buy a property here? Does it make sense for the strategy that I'm working on? And again, it helps me position myself best when going into a new deal. So those are some of the small things that I do to mitigate risk for a deal before I even get in. From my experience, the biggest risk to a project is time. A delay in your timeline can happen for various reasons and become very, very costly. I think creating a timeline at the beginning of your project with very important benchmarks helps you keep on track and can help mitigate the risk when there's delays. Creating the plan and executing accordingly will vastly help mitigate project risk, and education in that is one of the most important pieces. Oh, there we go. So shameless plug for learning. Fund That Flip has a real estate investment podcast called Real Estate Investing Unscripted. I was lucky enough to go on as a guest, and we get into underwriting and the secret sauce of underwriting and risk mitigation. So definitely go give it a listen. Lots of great guests on the podcast in general, and lots of good transparent information being shared from our two hosts. So another way that I personally tried to mitigate risk and wanted to learn more about it was by getting a business partner. You can split the work with another person. So I often talked with a coworker at my first job out of college. I was in tech sales, didn't really like it. So we would spend most of our time talking about real estate, browsing Zillow, and trying to figure out, how do we get into this industry? We both shared that desire for passive income as well. So we decided, let's do it together. We've got our first house hack together. We bought a duplex. We both went 50-50 on the down payment, and we both lived in one of the units, got a roommate, and they paid part of our mortgage. So my partner also got a job in real estate. We both had that desire to have our personal and professional goals aligned. So she worked at got a job at a local brokerage. So as we gained experience and we were able to figure out what we were good at and what we enjoyed doing, it felt less intimidating to start knowing that I had someone with me along the way. And also the financial risk was basically cut in half there. Both had different skills and networks that we were able to leverage for our success. There's many ways that you can split a partnership as well that have varying levels of risk mitigation. You can be the person who's hands-on doing it all, project management, asset management, contractor management, and you're doing all of the hands-on in-person stuff, which is not very passive. Or you can go somewhere more on the passive side if you're just wanting to give money to someone who is doing that stuff. But as you can assume, there's lots of different risk there, considering that you may or may not have control considering the partnership. So I think it's super important to vet your partners and make sure that you use contracts to outline obligations and responsibilities to protect yourself in that partnership. And always remember that if someone's offering you something that seems too good to be true, it probably is. There's no get rich quick schemes in real estate investing. It's all about time and growth. So I think it's super important to try everything once and understand, in real estate, if you're property managing or negotiating, working with contractors, even some of the trade labor, just trying it and seeing what does it take to do this and what is the price to do it? Because then when you want to hire it out, you can better understand what you're doing and what you're working with. I also believe that the best learning is through doing. So I tried everything myself to start. I was wearing every single hat part of the process. And I quickly learned that some things were not worth my time and I needed to hire people out for it. One of my recent rehabs, I thought that I could repave the driveway myself. I watched a YouTube video. I was like, this is easy. I can do this. So about $300 in and maybe 6 hours of my time, the driveway still looked awful, cracks, was not easy. A lot of manual labor, I had calluses on my hand. I was like, not my thing. Hired it out and time and money lost, but you learn, right? I'm not good at paving driveways. So if you're good at something, or if you're not good at something, there's definitely someone or something out there that you could purchase that will help you do it. And that goes beyond trade labor. There's coaches out there, property management, lead generation, underwriters and deal finders, contract management, the list goes on and on and on. And then, another shameless plug for the podcast, another great investor that came onto the podcast, Jay Scott. He has tons of knowledge, talks about going into or you're focusing on what you're good at in order to grow your business. Write this one down. Great podcast. Definitely give it a listen. So scaling, that's where I'm at right now. I'm not quite at a scale. Like I said before, I've got 7 doors across 3 multifamily properties, but I want to kind of take it to the next level. So, how do you scale? Giving up control is not easy for anyone, but eventually you have to learn where your time is best spent. The biggest risk to your portfolio and your projects is for you to be the bottleneck and to delay the time because you're trying to do it all yourself. Time is money, and scaling a rental portfolio cannot easily be done if you want to wear all the different hats. You have to trust the team around you, and you have to give control to the experts. There's software and programs now that you can take humans right out of some of your processes as well, if you want to build a team that way. At the end of the day, the best way to learn is to try. Failure is inevitable in any type of strategy or whatever you're doing. Everyone is always going to fail, but how we learn from our failures is what makes us successful. The more you educate yourself and use the resources around you, the better you can predict and mitigate risk. You hear people say your network is your net worth. And I truly believe that if you grow the team and always continue educating and surrounding yourself with experts that are where you want to be today, you'll eventually be there yourself. That's all for me for now. Thanks again for having me on. Please connect with me on any social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, my email. I love growing my network with like-minded people. I'll also be at the Real Estate Investment Conference in Arizona for Invest Her. So come to the Fund That Flip booth, say hi, connect with me. Super excited to be there in beautiful sunny Arizona. Next up, you're going to hear from Val. She's been a mentor and someone that I look up to greatly at Fund That Flip. I hope to be as much of a badass as her someday. And make sure to get your pens out because she's going to drop some great knowledge on you all. So take it away, Val.
Real quick, Val, before you go, Patricia's asking, could you share again the podcast just before number 4?
Yeah. So it is Real Estate Investing Unscripted right here. You see that's the title. Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you get your podcasts from. We got a couple episodes on here. This is the one that I really think you guys should give a listen to. Jay Scott, really knowledgeable guy.
I know, I'm excited. I'm going to be on there soon.
Yeah, awesome.
Sorry, not to interrupt. Val, take it away. Megan, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Let me get to Val's slide. All you, Val.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you, Liz and team, for having us here. Can't say enough how much I agree with Megan and how deeply I believe in what Investor is all about. My name is Val Moses. I am a mom of a 4-year-old, 3-year-old, and 4-month-old. I'm the vice president of asset management at Fund That Flip. I'm also a real estate investor. I live in the greater Cleveland area and moved here in June of 2020, peak COVID time. I'm originally from Canada. I spent most of my professional career in the oil and gas industry and heavy construction, so like heavy industrial specifically and pipelines in Western Canada. I spent many years in workforce development, strategy, negotiations, and have been and still am to this day an avid champion of women in building trades and non-traditional occupations by way of creating vehicles for financial security and economic freedom. So I think it's fair to say that while I may not have always been involved in real estate investing, many things that Liz said at the beginning of this resonate with me deeply, and kind of all the things that I've been passionate about for a long time. I don't know how to give Megan cool clues about when to change the slides, so bear with me here. Okay, so my introduction to real estate investing was an organic one, and one born of a fundamental shift in my mindset. One where I shifted from focusing on economic security and began to seek economic freedom. That shift is the most difficult and rewarding challenge that I am still working to manage today, and what I believe to be the root in understanding and mitigating risk. I actually came to join the team at Fund That Flip through my first big aha kind of moment in real estate investing, a lesson that's continued to develop for me throughout my experience. I consider myself to be a pretty competent person, and what I lack for in knowledge, I'm more than willing to make up for in hard work. I've always struggled, though, to pay people for things that I am capable of doing. So similar to what Megan talked about, that desire to learn always been a huge thirst for knowledge for me. I'm a proud graduate of YouTube University. What I mean by that is just about everything I learned in the beginning came from people that I knew in my network, excuse me, or from YouTube. And I thought, the more I knew and the more knowledge I had, the less I would have to pay other people to do stuff for me, and therefore like immediate reward. So that was sort of my mentality from jump with this. What's the most important thing for you to preserve in real estate investing? What does economic freedom really afford you? I have learned that for me, and I'd argue for everyone else as well, the answer is time. It turned out that I was introducing risk by way of undervaluing my time. The desire to save money cost me money, real money, not potential profit, but actual money, by way of not understanding how to properly prioritize and value my time. People have asked me what my favorite part about flipping houses is. Super easy answer, none. I'm interested and passionate in the long game, in the cash flow play. I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours in appreciation plays and everything and anything rentals. I also know and have come to learn and value that capital is the way that I can build my rental portfolio, and therefore I must be great at flipping houses. So this is a huge part of my strategy today. This is what I do and what I really plan to do. And my dream, the generational wealth is a huge resonator for me. I mentioned at the very beginning, I first identify as a mom, and I have 3 kids, and my dream is to leave 10 properties that are multifamilies to each of my children that are mortgage free and cash flowing that they know how to manage. This is my dream, and this is one that I'm, knock on wood, pretty close to realizing at this point in my real estate career. So I'm super grateful for that. But it's the lessons for me that really change and help me grow to be a better person, a better mom, a better investor. Second. A few years back, shortly before I met the Fund That Flip team, I was introduced to my very first painful lesson about risk. I call it self-important risk. At the time, it was related to the capital needed to flip houses. We weren't using hard money or private money. We were lucky enough to have our own capital to use exclusively. And what that really meant is that we were doing, one deal at a time. If I have my own capital, why am I going to pay interest and origination fees and servicing fees to use somebody else's money? That didn't make any sense to me. I'll tell you why. Because if something goes wrong on that one deal, whether the issue is minor or major, the impact will be major because I'm completely exposed and reliant on this single project to be on time, on budget, and exactly without any surprises, according to plan. And surprise, I have yet to have a single project that meets all of those requirements. What do you do when you spend all your money on a deal and there is an overage? Who knows? Who's had that happen? Anybody had that happen before? I'll tell you what you do. You rack up your credit cards. This is what people do. They pull out their 401k, they rack up their credit cards, they borrow money from somebody to make that happen. What happens when your credit utilization is high on your exit strategies? Buy, refinance as an option. I've now introduced risk because of my refusal to pay, $6,000 more. I've cost myself money and exposed myself to significant risk if there's a market downturn of any kind, if there's not quick and high interest in the property that I'm trying to sell. All kinds of stuff can happen when you're short-sighted and look at risk, I think, through a very narrow lens that's not accurate in investing. This led to this kind of aha led to a big change in our thinking. The need for security of money in the bank was replaced by my understanding on how to maximize cash on cash return. That wasn't enough to fully mitigate risk for me. What I now know to be a lesson about my time, I first interpreted as a lesson about capital. So the delusion, the risk and the lessons continued for me until I had fully understood it for what it is. I continued thinking along that same line that I had before we started using hard money and private money. If I can list the property myself and get, a real estate license, why would I pay an agent's commission? I'd look at that HUD, see that commission, and say, I could do that. I can definitely do that, no problem. If I can manage projects myself, I'm a project manager, know how to do this, no construction. Why would I pay a premium for GCs? I'll just manage all the subcontractors myself. The list and ultimately the delusion went on and on and on. And ultimately, where I got to, I learned to use GCs on projects where it made sense to, but I optimized better to manage subcontractors where the profit margins didn't make sense to. I learned that there are different types of projects. I learned that I can't have a black and white rule as it comes to running my business if I wanted my business to be diverse and strategic. I learned to set expectations properly with contractors. I'd argue very, very, very close to time being the greatest risk that I'll agree with Megan, is your ability to manage contractors properly. The ability to manage relationships, to set expectations, not just with contractors, but with architectural review boards, with zoning boards, with building departments, with all kinds of folks that you're going to interact with. Hone those negotiation skills. Understand how to communicate, understand how to have difficult conversations, how to learn from your mistakes, how to be humble when you need to be humble and acknowledge wrongdoing, how to maintain and build those relationships. I learned what labor should cost relative to the quality of work I was expecting for the job. I learned that the quality of work can make an ARV viable or not. That yes, that $2,000 contractor who can do everything I want him to do, which is this checklist of stuff I have of paint the whole house and put some LVP down, and is not going to maybe get me the same ARV when it comes down to quality, and you're going to pay for what you get. That's what happens. I learned that different levels of finishing are needed for different types of projects. I learned the value of staging and of using seasoned real estate professionals with their own networks who can bring me deals instead of me spending my time finding those deals. I learned that even though my gut wasn't necessarily irrelevant, it also wasn't as good as learning how to comp properties properly, and that I shouldn't bank on that for an ARV, regardless of how smart I thought I was. I started thinking about things like how time can unlock scalability. And I also learned the art of ripping off and duplicating, I call it. So this is a zero shame in this plug, or for any plug, not just like Flipper Force, but all the softwares that people with more money and more time than I have spent figuring out ways to help me optimize my business and achieve my goals. I learned that doing a postmortem on my projects when I'm no longer in the middle of them helps me learn the lessons I should be learning in the moment and might overlook. I also learned that software that costs $100 to $150 a month and says it's the best when I Google it isn't necessarily what I need or worth that to me. I learned to look at different options, look at different ways to generate leads, look at all kinds of stuff and educate myself and try them before I decided what the rules should be for me. Time is the greatest competitive advantage that I have today. As a mom of 3 little kids, a dedicated employee to a company I love, and an active investor, it is not the amount of time that I have that makes me competitive, as you can probably imagine. It's my respect for it. It is the way I recognize that time is a vehicle for learning, for achieving economic freedom, for teaching my daughters and my son how to be independent, driven, and successful entrepreneurs. It's the way I have dug deep and learned to see risk through fear, to understand that while I cannot control risk, I can mitigate it and respond to it instead of reacting to it. I can prepare, I can leverage my experience, and I can build strategy. My very, very strong recommendation to all of you is to surround yourself with people who care about your success, to not try to be someone other than who you are, and to recognize both what you're bringing to the table organically through the transferable skills you have in your life, the skills you've already built in your investment career, and identify opportunities to mitigate the risks that you've introduced via real estate investing without seeing it only through a fear lens. Risk is inevitable to get return. It is not that scary if you're prepared. It's not that scary if you surround yourself with people who have your best interests at heart and can help you learn how to mitigate them. And that's all for me. So thank you.
Val, do you mind if we handle a couple questions that came in?
Sure.
So are your guys, Jeannie, hey Jeannie, are your guys the contact for Columbus? Are your guys the contact? I think somebody's asking, I think Jeannie's asking about maybe your contractors in Columbus. Are they people that you would refer? I'm assuming that's what you're asking,
I
Jeannie.
think she's looking for a Columbus salesperson, which I can help you with, Jeannie. So I'm going to give you my phone number right.
Okay, okay. Gotcha. I'm not sure if you're looking for the contractor or the contact. Okay, got a little confused there. Hey, Jeannie. All right, good stuff. Thanks, Val. This is a great question, and Val, maybe you could take the lead and everyone could jump in, but how have you seen the climate in lending change over the last 6 months? And any predictions for the future, new challenges, opportunities? I mean, that's a great question for you, Val, if you don't mind fielding that.
For sure. I actually think what I've seen change in the climate in lending is the same thing I've seen for myself in investing in kind of different ways. So in lending, I think what's happened, since I'll say the peak was recognized as a peak last June or so in market performance. Around the fall, we saw like Fed rate hikes, that type of stuff. We saw people condense their buy boxes, kind of increase the requirements in the underwriting space. Really what they're doing is saying like, hey, what's a less risky borrower profile, whatever, so on and so forth, deal profile, and so on and so forth for us to invest in as lenders. I think that's what we're seeing in the capital world. I'm starting to see that shift a bit, which I'm grateful for. And I think what happened when that happens is people who are deploying capital, and Meredith's going to talk about ways to, I think, achieve the next level of what I'll say passive investing, which is to deploy your capital amongst multiple deals potentially rather than actively doing them yourself. What happened there is like opportunity cost, right? Like to mitigate that risk, there's a cost of not doing as many deals as a lender or as a capital deployment person for your own money. That you're leaving money on the table potentially, and you're doing so in a conscious way to mitigate risk. I'm starting to see that shift back to where I think closer to where it was prior to, but I saw that happen, with me and my partner and with a lot of investors who were at scale during that shift in the peak and shift in the market that were left holding, several deals that maybe were used to those, 1 day on market, multiple offers, or 3 days on market, and that suddenly became 30, 45, stuff that we were uncomfortable with and not sure how to manage. And we started, proactively introducing refis and not listing stuff. And we did a lot of stuff. What we also learned is like, what an amazing opportunity to buy when other people are not. What opportunity there is in that. And so I think what I'm starting to see is that market pick back up from local investors here starting to acquire again. The same thing is happening with lenders, where I'm starting to see more risk tolerance in the lending space. I think we're both coming from different perspectives towards the same goal, which is like, let's get back to where we were. Let's learn some of the lessons that maybe we should have, of like, not everything is like up and to the right 24/7, and like, it's a cyclical industry. We should prepare adequately for that. That also doesn't mean we need to sit on the sidelines and watch other people make money.
Yeah. Great advice. Great stuff. Okay, cool. We'll jump back into these questions, but I want to make sure, Meredith, you have your time to present, and then we'll jump into the rest of them. So thank you.
Great. All right. Thank you. Hi, my name is Meredith, and I am really excited to be here with you all today. Val, Megan, great jobs. Always learn a lot listening to you guys, and really appreciate your mentorship while being at the company. I would love for anyone to connect with me on LinkedIn as well. It's Meredith McGowan. I have a lot of the same goals as Val and Megan for personal finance as well, just a little bit more on the passive side than the active side, although I've done both as well. I'm a mom of 3 children. I have to give a plug for that. Thank you very much for Val for reminding me of that. I didn't have that in my slides before, but I have a college-age son and a son and a daughter in high school. I live in Connecticut, and I am actually in Las Vegas right now for a conference that Fund That Flip is sponsoring for accredited investors. So thank you very much for having me here. I really, truly appreciate it. I'm a director in the investor relations department here at Fund That Flip. Before joining Fund That Flip, I worked in the finance industry for over 20 years, both on the institutional side, advising hedge funds on their investments, and also on the retail side, advising high net worth investors with their portfolios and estate planning. As I said before, I've invested personally in real estate, both passively and actively. But so today we want to make sure you feel more comfortable investing. Many women have a fear of investing. So if you do, you're far from alone. I, at one point, had a large fear of it as well. We shy away from the stock market and other types of investments due to insecurity, lack of confidence. I can't even see my slide. Oh, yeah. Oh, you could change the slide there, Megan. Sorry. Thank you. A lot of times, I'll be at a cocktail party, surrounded by a group of men standing there talking about their latest investments, and you feel as if you have nothing to add. And I've definitely felt that way. I hated that feeling. It made me feel even more intimidated to invest anywhere. So, over the years, I've come up with a few strategies that you can gradually overcome your fears and start taking control of your finances through, learning some of these smart investment choices. So today I'm going to share a few strategies. Strategy number 1, start small. Just because other people are talking about larger investments doesn't mean that that's where you have to begin. Take smaller steps initially as you learn and build your confidence. Invest smaller dollar amounts at the start while you begin to understand the process. As you see your earnings start to grow, you'll become more comfortable investing a larger amount. And remember, only invest what you can afford to lose. There are absolutely no guarantees in the investing world, unfortunately. Number 2, educate yourself. I think Megan and Val have talked about this as well, but I completely agree. The more you learn about what you're investing in, the better. There are plenty of ways to educate yourself so you can feel more confident and empowered. Reading books, watching podcasts, our podcast, Real Estate Unscripted, shameless plug. Websites. Our website is fantastic. We have the 12-step guide to passive investing on there, which is a terrific informational source. Websites, blogs, to learn the fundamentals and the terminology. So number 3, diversify. We've talked about this before as well, but diversifying your portfolio. Spread out your investments across different asset classes, different sectors, different companies, different geographies. You can reduce the impact on any single investment on your overall portfolio, and you can maximize your returns that way. With a balanced and diversified portfolio, you're less likely to feel anxious about your investment performance also. So number 4, look at the big picture. Volatility is normal, unfortunately. A bear market usually occurs every 4 to 5 years. So instead of letting fear get in your way and stressing out over the ever-changing landscape of investments, focus on that big picture. Focus on your long-term financial goals. With this perspective shift, you'll be much better prepared to make smart decisions with your investments. And number 5, my dad always told me this. I'm sure you guys have all heard it before as well, but it is very true advice. Build a solid emergency fund. This affords you some financial cushioning and will help you feel more confident about making investment decisions. So by understanding the risks associated with investing and taking these precautions, you can make smart decisions based on your own financial goals without letting that fear take over. So again, the key steps are take small steps, educate yourself, diversify your portfolio, build that emergency fund, focus on the big picture, and you'll build confidence as you go along. As I said, here at Fund That Flip, we have the 12-step guide to passive investing, which is fabulous in teaching you how to get involved with that. We have our own podcast that we've all talked about, and we have blogs on our website that have numerous articles on different topics about investing in real estate, both passively and actively. We also have articles about each of our investment products as well. Most of our products here at Fund That Flip are short term, so they're 1 year or less. Depending on which product you're investing in, you can find some 6-month maturities and some even shorter maturities. Some are fixed maturities, which provide less risk, and some you can just invest and forget about until your maturity date. We call those the sleep at night investments. We also have individual projects to invest in, which Megan and Val have been talking about. This is where you would look at the deal cards on our platform and pick specific projects to invest in. When looking at the deal cards, we show some important criteria right there to help you make your investment choices. Yeah, thank you for putting that up there, Megan. That deal card would be great. That last one. Sorry. Yeah, thanks. So the annual return, this is what you will earn on an annualized basis from your investment. It's important to remember if your investment matures in 9 months, you will receive only 9 months of this monthly payment, not the 12. Using this example, if you invested $10,000 at 9.5%, that would equal $950 annualized. So then on a monthly basis, you would earn $79, which is then divided by the 12. So then for the 9 months of your investment, you would receive that $79. Loan to ARV is a big investment term. We like to, this represents our loan as a percentage of the after repair value. As a company, we ensure this is in the 65 to 70 range. This then means that the 30 to 35% on the other side is the borrower's equity in the project and some profit. So the higher the percentage, the less amount of equity the borrower has in that project. So always look at that when you're making your decision on which projects to look into. ARV, we've all talked about, after repair value. Investment offering, this is the amount our lenders will invest in the project. And minimum investment. So for all our individual projects on our platform, the minimum to invest is $5,000. We have other investment products with the minimum of $1,000. And we also have a new product out that has a minimum of $25,000. So lots of different ways to begin depending on where you want to start. The term, this represents the length of time of the investment until maturity. It's important to point out also that when investing in the individual projects, there are usually extensions, and these are not true fixed maturity investments. Fund That Flip splits any extension fees with the lenders, though, 50-50. So there is potential to make additional money on your investment when investing in these. We do offer other investment products, though, that have true fixed maturities if your risk tolerance is a little bit more aligned with that. SFH is single family home. And the borrower has a personal guarantee here. So we require the majority members of the borrower's team to sign a personal guarantee. And then finally, Fund That Flip is in the first lien position, meaning we are in the first or priority position to benefit from any liquidation of the collateral, which is very important. So And then on the next slide, we have other information on all of our deal cards that you could spend days reading up on if you wanted to, and really getting a lot of information. One is the market overview. So here's an example of some of the information that we show. We also show more detailed information on the borrower. So, how many deals he or she has in progress, which deals have been repaid, their credit scores. So lots of real information you can dig into there. And then we have an updates section as well. Fund That Flip tries to be very transparent with all of our information and what's happening with our projects. So we post updates regularly with pictures of the progress so that the lenders can see for themselves what's going on. So through Fund That Flip and other passive real estate investment companies, you can invest in real estate without lifting a hammer. We give accredited investors the opportunity to transform communities and create their own wealth. And we offer multiple ways to reach your investment goals. So again, to summarize, the 5 strategies for making smarter and more confident investment decisions are: start small, educate yourself, diversify your portfolio, look at the big picture, and finally build that emergency fund. Thank you very much.
Awesome. A couple of quick questions. That was great. Thanks, Meredith. A couple of quick questions. They're asking, what is the website? What's the best way? Just fundthatflip.com is the easiest place to go. Could someone throw that in there so everyone has it? On that side of it, do you participate as accredited investors in syndicated deals, or is it more like the projects you were just showing, Meredith, or is it both?
It's the projects that we were showing, yes, as an accredited investor, exactly.
Okay, gotcha. And then, do you lend in all states? So that's the first question. Do you lend in all states?
I believe we lend in 36 states now. Was I think the last I
Gotcha.
heard, so not every state.
And then, it's a good question. What's the main criteria you look at to lend on a deal? It's a great education for everyone here. Anyone can take that.
Megan, should we have a competition of the former underwriters? Both Megan and I are former Fund That Flip underwriters. I think, similar to what you're probably looking at. So we are, I think part of what makes us an interesting lending option is that I see us as a true partnership lender, meaning a lot of us are investors. So we are looking at ARV, we're looking at the dollars we have out relative to the potential value on the asset. We're looking at, not the same thing that banks look at, because we're an asset-based lender. We're not looking at income verification or some of those other pieces that you may see in a traditional residential mortgage. We're really looking at business purpose only loans. So there are some, basic credit requirements, things like that are a component of this. Not quite the same though, because we're more focused on the potential of the asset and your plan and history of experience and actually making that plan a reality. So that's the way we're looking at each deal.
That's great. That's helpful. Okay, a couple more questions here. How do you become an accredited investor? I could probably answer that too, but unless you guys want to.
Oh, sure. So, you need to have income over $200,000 individually, or $300,000 with a spouse or partner in each of the prior 2 years, and then reasonably expect the same for the current year. Or you could have a net worth over $1 million, excluding your primary residence, individually or with a partner. And then also anyone holding in good standing the Series 7, Series 65, I believe it is, or 82 licenses.
Okay. And, it's interesting, right? Because we've been working with passive investors many years, in terms of just working with different types of people in our own business and syndication. And just for everyone out there, you don't only have to be accredited to invest in a project, right? Obviously, in certain projects, it is, there's a requirement. So you want to be mindful of what the active investor is asking for and how they're setting up the structure of their deal. These are the kind of like due diligence, right? We have to do as active investors, as passive investors to active investors. So it's not always assumed that you have to only be accredited and they're the only ones that invest in deals. It's called sophisticated investors. Some others set their projects up that, it's friends and family, more of a pre-existing relationship. So just be mindful as you're navigating passive investing, but a lot of great opportunities are on both sides of it. But I love that you guys said the accredited piece, because that's important. All right. So Cheryl's asking also, do you have a separate e-fund personally or for business? If so, what's the amount in the e-fund? I'm not familiar with an e-fund. You guys are familiar with that? What,
No.
Cheryl, tell us more about what you mean by an e-fund. I'm not. And then you asked about non-recourse lending. So I guess, are you providing non-recourse lending? Maybe that's what she's asking. If you could clarify a little bit, Cheryl, that'd be helpful. Want to make sure I get your question correctly here.
I think I can answer the recourse letter. There are personal guarantors on the loan. So the loan is asset backed and personal guarantor backed.
I would say, I would ask too, I don't see any more questions, and please, if emergency fund. Cheryl's saying it's an emergency fund. Do you have a separate emergency fund personally and for business?
No,
Yes.
we don't.
What's that?
No, we don't.
No, you don't. Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. I think I handled those questions. What would you say when you have, and in terms of experience, do you work with new investors? And I know these answers, but I want everyone hearing too, because is it more, that they've done some deals before? What's the kind of like the criteria that you like to see from an experience perspective?
I would say from an experience perspective, this is not generally a first deal lender. This is a scaling lender. So this might be somebody where you've done, a deal or two at least under your belt that you've successfully exited, whether that be through a refinance on a long-term hold strategy or through a sale. We consider both of those value add. So as long as you've done that construction component to them and have a history there, that's what we'll be verifying through your experience verification and underwriting. So that often comes by way of partnerships. One really great way to build experience that I highly recommend for anybody who has no capital is learn how to find deals for the people who have capital. Learn how to find them, learn how to sell them, learn how to wholesale. That is absolutely smart work and not hard work necessarily. Some of the best lessons I've learned have been in wholesaling. Build partnerships, JV. There are ways to get that experience. It's not that far off if you don't yet have it. I'll also tell you the amount of risk I'm exposed to, 3 deals in, very different than the first one. So we are accountable to both the people we help scale and to the accredited investors in our fund. So for that reason, we're generally looking for at least 2 deals that you've done.
Yeah, it's a great point, because often people are like, well, I don't have the funds, I don't have the relationships. If you have time, because it's like time, money, resources, right? Time and money are the 2 big ones in real estate investing, I always say. And so often right now, money's easier to come by actually than the actual projects that are penciling out that makes sense. That's the harder part right now, right? So if you can add value to an existing team, that's critical. Cheryl's asking, how have you personally found a lot of your deals? Okay, so how have you found your current deals that are in your kind of portfolio right now? Or even how does Fund That Flip find their deals?
So our deals come from our borrowers that Fund That Flip. Personally, as an investor, I've kind of, I'll say, shifted organically through scaling my business. So initially, I got lucky. Frankly, the very first one was pure luck, absolutely no smarts behind it, and sat through a market that kind of was, I think the first house I bought was $75,000 Canadian and blew up in the sort of just outskirts of the greater Toronto area by way of time. So pure luck, no intention there. Then got hooked kind of thing of like, oh, this is cool. You can do this on purpose, I bet. So that helped me understand, how do you buy right? The rules buy right. And the answer to me is not the MLS. Then I started thinking about like, how do I buy off market deals and not find a list that the same 50 or 100 or 200 people are calling? And I started to try to get smart about, what do I know, in my life? What do I know about myself? And I'm a person who, is looking for the next big thing. So I'm like, okay, what's a marker for me of a motivated seller? How do I find motivated sellers that other people aren't thinking about? And I think of like, hey, you know what's the best way to fix a relationship that's not working? A new house or a new baby. So I'm like, who do I know whose relationship's not going great that owns a house? And so I started leveraging my network and people I know and the relationships I already had. And through that, and through building relationships and word of mouth, I'm now in a place where the deals come to us by way of people knowing we're going to give somebody a fair price. We're going to do no inspection contingency. We know what to do when there's a structural issue. We're not afraid of a lot of the stuff that a lot of other people may be. And we know what we have to offer. So now I'm in a place in the network that I have where people will just bring me deals that they don't want to do. So that's sort of kind of shifted over time to that.
I would also say there is an incredible need for affordable housing in this country. We are at there's always a shortage of, can people afford to live where they want to live or need to live? And so if you can not only say affordable housing from like a technical perspective, literally people can afford to live. And I think often the biggest thing to look at is literally Google the hottest markets in the United States and then take a 2-hour radius and don't invest in those. I'm not a big fan of like the hottest market because they're overpriced, but then do a 2-hour radius of that hot market, because those are going to be the up and coming secondary kind of tertiary markets. And don't be the first one to the table. Don't be the first one to invest in the town, would be my other suggestion.
Yep.
Get behind other developers. Other people are putting literally millions of dollars in these secondary markets of people that are an hour away from that city that everyone's working at. That would be, again, opportunity. Those are the kinds of markets we've always invested in. And there's so many of them across the country. So just be mindful of that. I always say that that's where opportunity is. It's kind of like the up and coming. Don't be the first one to the table, but it's not in that market that's overpriced, saturated, and that's been picked over. You kind of, unless you can get a great deal, I mean, that's good, Godspeed, but it's a little harder to do, right? What you say, Val?
I said, I think it's saturated adjacent is the sweet spot. Like if you can find close and adjacent in some type of way to a market that's already showing significant appreciation and investment, you're going to start to see that trickle into the surrounding neighborhoods just by way of kind of expansion. Yeah,
that's great. And then a couple of people are asking, who do they speak to if they're interested in becoming a passive investor with Fund That Flip?
Me.
Yeah. All right. And can you guys put your contact info in the chat box? Is that something you all can do so much or do? Again, okay, great. Missy. Hey, Missy, how's it going? Oh, cool. You're going to be there at InvestorCon too. But if you don't mind, I got 2 people asking for your information, especially those who are, and I will give you a big plug when active investors, especially right now, when your money is not being put to work, it's losing money for you. So remember that, right? So it's like, okay, where can I passively invest? We're doing the same thing and make money while, the times change. So right now, I think passive investors, right, are going up because active deals are a little harder to get, a little harder to circumvent yourselves. So, when you get credible companies like Fund That Flip that not only have phenomenal people that work there and phenomenal products, but stand upon values that align, do your due diligence, but you have to vet, right? The team, the market, and all those things. So guys, thank you, ladies. Thank you so much for being on. It was a pleasure meeting you 3. I love your presentations. And I just thank you so much for sharing your mitigating risk from a large company perspective with Fund That Flip and what you're doing to mitigate, and also what you're personally doing to mitigate. I mean, that's so powerful because it's not just like, this is what we're doing. And we're doing this from a company perspective, and we're doing this in our own portfolios, which makes this so much richer and useful. So thank you. The 3 of you are spending time with us. Will I meet all 3 of you at InvestorCon?
Not
you, Val. You don't want to come to sunny Scottsdale?
My littlest baby is only 4 months old. So
I'm
not quite ready for Scottsdale this year.
We're going to have a mother's room. We do that every year.
I like that.
Yeah, we do. We did that last year. So we decorate it, make it private for moms that are nursing, and it's one of our signatures. We'll always do that. So
awesome.
But anyway, it was a pleasure meeting the 3 of you. Everyone, please reach out to Fund That Flip. They're a phenomenal company doing great things. So thanks again for being on.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Take care.